Hi, everybody. I wanted to share some information with you that I present sometimes. Once in a while, I get invited to women's groups, and I teach them a little bit about their biofield and how information is stored there in a way that is heavy and burdensome, in a way that affects our emotional responses. And so I'm going to share my screen with you. There might be some information here you've heard before, and some you might not have heard quite this way. So I hope that you join me and follow all the way through, okay? Let's get started. Very often I will have people come up to me and ask me about the biofield, and they've heard the word aura, but they're not really familiar with the term biofield. And so when we are talking about the biofield, we are talking about the aura. It was Sir Isaac Newton who actually invented the math, and he did it overnight. And he invented the math that proved his theory of magnetic fields. It was Sir Hans Christian Ørsted who first discovered that electrical activity generated a magnetic field. So you have a magnetic field. If you have a heartbeat, you have a magnetic field. The electrical activity of the body generates a magnetic field that can be detected several feet away from the body. Magnetic fields are the medium through which energy is carried in the form of electromagnetic pulse waves. Your heartbeat is a frequency, and frequencies are encoded with information. Plants and animals also have magnetic fields. I know, obviously, plants don't have a heart. However, they do generate electrical activity, and therefore they also have a magnetic field. And all animals have a heart, so they have a magnetic field too. In 1994, the National Institute of Health termed the aura the biofield. Technically, this includes the subtle field of energy and information that surrounds and interpenetrates the human body. The body creates small currents caused by the electrical activity of the heart and the motion of ions in the organs and cells. Each and every cell has its own power plant that's called the mitochondria. And so every cell in the body has its own magnetic field. Every organ in the body has its own magnetic field. Your biofield is the accumulation of all of these magnetic fields generated by each and every cell. So this is probably the most important rendering of the presentation. This is an animation of your biofield, which is actually two fields. You have this positive energy flow that comes in a descending current from above the top of the head. This is where we receive the energy from the sun, the energy from the universe, the planets, God, source, spirit, whatever fits with your belief system as it comes to spirituality. But so this has a current that comes in a descending current from above the top of the head. It flows down through the center of your body to below the bottom of your feet. And all the while it's filtering through the chakra system, interpenetrating the body, radiating away from the body, and circulating down, around, down, up and around, down, up and around, in a constant motion that doesn't stop. simultaneously, you have this current that comes up from below the bottom of the feet. This has a negative polarity point, and this flows up through the body, interacting with the chakra system, interpenetrating the body, radiating away from the body, and also moving up in this flow that goes up, around, and down, up, around, and down, interacting with the positive energy that's coming down from the body. And so this is your biofield. Most people have never seen this before. So this is the rendering of a battery, and your biofield is exactly like a battery. It has a northern polarity and a southern, you have a north and a south polarity point. You are a human battery. So the electromagnetic field of the Earth flows in the same directional pattern as the human magnetic field. This toroidal energy flow is a pattern that repeats itself in nature. And if you think about it, you've seen it before. Now I'm going to show you. If you were to cut up a piece of fruit, you would see this pattern. The outer boundary of the human magnetic field is a area that holds a greater electrical charge. Most people believe that their skin is where they end. That is their boundary, but it's not. It's your biofield. Your biofield is a field of subtle energy and information, and it has a double layer plasma membrane, which creates that boundary. It creates a container that holds the information produced by the body, which is broadcast into the magnetic field. The heart's magnetic field can be measured several feet away from the body, and there are even devices that can measure that flow. The Institute of Heart Math has a machine called a Squid Magnetometer. It is a very sensitive device that is used to measure very extremely subtle magnetic fields, and it can measure the auric field. Science is finally able to prove what spirituality has known all along. So the rhythm of your heartbeat, it's encoded with information. It doesn't stay steady and neutral. Anyone who has a loved one who has been under cardiac arrest knows that they put these measurement sensors on you, and they are able to translate that onto a piece of paper and see the rhythm of your heart. Every emotion has a very specific frequency signature that it produces. Difficult emotions will propagate incoherent waveforms into the auric field. Easy emotions will propagate coherence. Move this out of your way. What this means is that we are all broadcasting the information of our emotions into the magnetic field, just like a radio signal. If you think about how you have gotten a bad vibe off of people, that's why. These incoherent waveforms get laid down in standing waves in a type of holding pattern of incoherent spinning. And as this information, it moves away from us. As we generate new information, the older information moves away from us. And because these are pulse waves, they have a tonal quality to them, just like a song. But they are outside of the audible range of what the human ear can hear. So you cannot hear them, but you can feel them. I like to compare the energy in your biofield to the background music in an elevator. It's like having your own unique elevator music. If you've had some difficult life experiences, if you have conditions that are chronic, like depression, anxiety, PTSD, then that elevator music will be very uncomfortable and something that isn't pleasant. You may want to change the music, but you don't know how. As I said, it can be very uncomfortable. This inaudible background music might feel sad, it might feel angry, it might trigger you to feel afraid, or it might feel like abandonment or rejection. Whatever your emotional history is that is in the record that has been laid down in your field, that is your personal background music. And this energy can be triggered over and over again indefinitely. And you may want to feel better, but you don't know how. When biological organisms are under stress, they emit more biophotons that are of the same nature as the stress that you are experiencing. For example, when you cut a flower, it will leak light at the point where you cut the flower. So what ends up in the biofield is an energy tangle of these incoherent waveforms that are produced by difficult emotions that are propagating away from the body, and these biophotons where you are leaking light. And they end up as a tangle in your biofield. So this is basically orbiting debris that is floating. What gets laid down in the auric field, it has a timeline aspect to it. This energy is generated electrically, and so it gets stored in the same way that it was produced. So we're going to go over the timeline aspect in just a little bit. But what I was trying to point out is that it gets laid down in the same way that it's produced, in the exact same form. It's your personal broadcast to the universe. The fundamental language of nature is vibrational. And so whatever is in your magnetic field, it's attracting more of that to itself. It's your personal broadcast. And other people can feel your energy. If you think about it, you felt other people's energy too. Your energy is something that you can't hide, and it introduces you in a way that cannot be masked with a smile or with makeup. Your energy is your truest form of a first impression. Sound healing can help by recalibrating the incoherence that's in your biofield. The biofield tuning protocol is a process that was developed by the founder Eileen McCusick, and it is very effective. Sound and subtle vibrations produced by tuning forks and sound bowls. Eileen doesn't include sound bowls. I use it in my practice. My clients seem to like it very much. But those vibrations, they help to modulate the incoherence that's in your field, and it helps to balance the body's energy. After several years of seeing clients and clinical research, Eileen mapped out the biofield and mapped out how energy is stored and laid down. And she developed the biofield tuning method, which is quite brilliant. An activated tuning fork works like a doctor's stethoscope and provides informative feedback about the nature of the energies that are stored in the magnetic field. Another way that the biofield tuning protocol can be described is like sonar. The activated tuning fork works diagnostically to locate energy imbalances, and when you produce a sound with a tuning fork, it gives you informative feedback as to what's in the field. Another way that this can be described is as putting a needle on a record album. If you're old enough, like me, to have ever played a vinyl record, you put the needle down and it plays this song. And so when we approach the body with an activated tuning fork, the sound, it doesn't stay steady and neutral. It will change in pitch and volume and timbre, and it will give us feedback as to what is in somebody's field. The tuning fork, the sound produced by the tuning forks also works therapeutically to modulate these dense, heavy, or low vibrational energies that are present. The body has its own organizing intelligence. It's constantly trying to achieve homeostasis. And so the tuning fork works with the body's own organizing intelligence, and it gives the body an opportunity to recognize where it's holding incoherence and where there are distortions. In biofield tuning, we work with the chakra system. The chakra systems need to stay open and balanced. As we go through life, poor habits can affect the chakra system. Chakras can become underperforming or overperforming, and they can get out of balance. So one of the ways that we describe the energy and information in the biofield are like rings on a tree. The biofield, it has a timeline aspect to it. So all of the information that is current and recent can be found close to the body. And as I said, as we generate new information, the older information moves away from us. And so everything from gestation and birth can be found at the outer boundary of your biofield. And everything current and recent in the now is found close to your body. And everything in between is like the rings on a tree. So if you are 40 and I am moving a tuning fork through your field and I find a disturbance halfway, I would know that there was some big event that caused emotional upheaval around age 20. The information in your biofield can tell us a story about the past. So this is the map that Eileen developed for our practitioners, for her practitioners, and this is what we go by. So it is a kind of a map that we use to help identify. Very often a practitioner can get a very strong sense of what's there. The tonal quality of sadness, it really does sound sad. And it's something that if you are very sensitive to energy like me, I can even feel it myself. Today I was working on a client who had a lot going on in the solar plexus, and both her and I were feeling it even come up to our throat. So with biofield tuning, we are able to access the energy of these memories at their source point and calm the energy charge related to these difficult life stories. And here's another rendering of Eileen's map. One of the things that show up in the biofield are energy constructs. And so just like how we have organs in the body, in the biofield, we have this subtle energy that are like spinning vortexes of energy. For example, off to the left hip, if you are struggling with a lot of frustration, then that will show up. We can find a spinning wheel off to the left hip. Any disappointments also show up there. And sadness shows up around the heart. Anger shoots out of the liver and out of the gallbladder. And so based on Eileen's map, we're able to find this incoherence. Panic disorder is something that can be greatly helped with the biofield tuning protocol. The adrenals have a biofield that we are able to isolate, and they can get stuck at an elevated level in a way that can trigger you. You can be driving down the road and get cut off by somebody that can that's an event that can send you into a full-blown panic attack that can render you unable to drive. So anybody who has a panic disorder will know what I'm talking about. I've only had very few panic attacks, and they're not fun. And some people can't even work because of panic disorder. And biofield tuning is a process then that can return the rhythm of your adrenals to their default at or near neutral. Depression is something that is a little tougher to treat. It can be very effective. It can be helped with the biofield tuning method. If it's a chemical imbalance that somebody is struggling with, then the biofield tuning protocol isn't effective in that instance. But the energy of sadness, grief, and loss, it does get stored very heavily around the heart area. We find it in other places, but definitely around the heart area. And that's something that can be relieved through sound healing. Anger. Okay, so if you know anybody who has anger issues, who can get very triggered, in my experience, anger can be another form of sadness. It can be directed inward. It can be directed at other people. If somebody is struggling with anger issues, they can be reacting in a way that doesn't fit the situation. They can be tearing down the self-esteem of their partner, their children. They can be burning bridges and losing relationships due to anger issues. A blocked throat chakra. The throat chakra is actually one of the most important chakras to heal, because it is through our words that we create our life. And if you have a blocked throat chakra, you aren't self-advocating, you aren't speaking your truth, you aren't creating a life that is authentic to yourself. So that's a really important throat chakra to work through and clear. Very often people who were in home situations with a belligerent parent, it isn't just the dad. Mom relationships can be very destructive if they weren't a healthy model. But I get a lot of clients who have had a history of childhood sexual abuse and rape, and very often they're struggling with a blocked throat chakra and huge amounts of shame. And if that is something that somebody is carrying, they are suffering in silence. And it is all energy that gets turned inward. There is so much damage that can be done when a throat chakra is blocked. And that correlates with the guilt and shame. As I mentioned, I get several clients who have a history of rape or sexual abuse, and unfortunately, they are the ones who are carrying the shame of what someone else did to them. It is one of the most destructive forces I have ever witnessed in my life experience. The energy imprint of guilt and shame can be located in a very specific area of the biofield. Often when I'm working with clients, they will start to feel very uncomfortable. It is a process that is so private and really requires a great deal of trust. And so it's something that can be addressed with biofield tuning. The root chakra holds a lot of trauma. And it is the foundation of your energy system. The root chakra is. It holds energy and information of your family of origin, survival, the safety of your biological organism, issues around intimacy, survival, tribe. Huge amounts of incoherence can be found there. Emotional triggers, okay? The energy and information in your biofield, it functions as fuel for emotional triggers, and it affects your interactions with others. And so it really goes a long way in having a very smooth existence if you get the energy cleared. It goes a long way in a smoother existence. I mentioned earlier about energy constructs. We also find artifacts, energy artifacts. It's something that doesn't get discussed very much in the conversations about biofield tuning. So I wish I had gotten permission from one of my clients to discuss energy I found around the ankles. Chains show up around the ankles, around the neck, around the wrists. Think about whatever your culture is. If you have a family history that gets, if you have a family history that somewhere down the line, one of your family members was incarcerated, had some kind of a slavery. It isn't something that only happened to African Americans. Native American Indians were held captives. Asians were held captives. There's several cultures that in their lifetimes that have been held captives. And these artifacts leave an energy imprint that seems to follow us. Again, this is something that doesn't get discussed very often in the biofield tuning discussions, but I thought I would include that here. The feet and the knees. I have found the feet and the knees to be critical. I don't like clients to leave me without ever having addressed the feet and the knees. I try to work in those areas in the first session. These areas are very systemic. The right foot, the right side of the body, the right knee, the right foot, the right ankle, holds energy and information of emotional freeze, obstacles moving forward, bad habits, any issues around addiction show up there, stubbornness shows up there. Really hard to do sessions on clients who are struggling with that imprint. And so there's a large accumulation of energy that gets stuck around the feet and the knees. The left knee holds energy and information around attachments, healthy and unhealthy attachments. Also, stories we identify about ourselves, stories that we have a hard time moving on from. So that energy and information gets stored off to the left knee. One thing we have found, if you were in an incubator, you might have some incoherence right at the outer boundary. Clients who are born breech, they will have huge amounts of incoherence around their ankles. And so all of that leaves an energy imprint that can help be resolved through the protocol of biofield tuning. So I'm trying not to come across as sometimes I get on a soapbox, and this slide was really important to me. To me, what I'm working with when I'm working through the incoherence is in somebody's biofield, it isn't just energy. What it is the energy of somebody's pain. It's the energy of somebody's suffering. It's the energy of somebody's hurt, and it's the energy of something that has just been desperately waiting to be seen, to be heard, and to be validated. My job as a biofield tuning practitioner is, first of all, to go through the protocol in a way that is that I was trained to do, but also with compassion that is void of pity. When you address this energy with pity, then the client immediately becomes a victim. There are no victims on my treatment table. There are only people who are reclaiming parts of themselves that they have lost along the way. And I work with them with the biofield tuning protocol and just help them to listen. And sometimes I help them to cry. And it is a empowering process. Every session is different. Every client is my teacher, because everything that I learn from them is something that helps me to help the next client. So it is a very profound experience. If somebody just wants to come and have their chakras balanced, I'm happy to do that. It is pretty easy to do. My personal preference is to work with clients who are ready to go very deep and who have the larger imprints that they are wanting to work through. What I tell people is that you can go to a doctor to heal your body, but where do you go to heal your soul? What is so powerful about the biofield tuning method is it allows us to revisit this energy and information that you've been carrying with you everywhere that has been a very heavy and painful reminder. It allows us to witness it in a way that permits it to just resolve and to heal and to let go. And in that way, it helps you to move on from a difficult life story. Very often people, their emotional responses are dictated by the memory of a painful life story. And the biofield tuning protocol is a process that allows us to lay that all down to rest. Another way to look at biofield tuning is a form of personal grooming. What I tell my clients is, think about what it would feel like if you never ever brushed your teeth, however old you are in the audience, however old, whether you're 14 or 40. What if you never ever brushed your teeth? And what would it feel like if one day you just were told, hey, did you know you're supposed to be brushing your teeth 3 times a day, at least twice a day? And then you brushed your teeth and you had never brushed your teeth before, or you took a shower and you had never taken a shower before. What would it feel like? Very often clients who come to see me for the first time, first, second, third sessions, they feel so much lighter, they feel brighter, and they just feel better. Sometimes there are healing crises, but it is different for each client. And a healing crisis is just something that happens when there's a big life story. It is necessary to allow that energy to dissipate and to pass. Again, every client is different. Biofield tuning and sound healing and clearing the auric field, it is a way to put your best foot forward. It can give you an advantage if you're going to a job interview, if you're going on a date and want to make a great first impression. You want to clear that energy in your field because other people can feel it. The chakras in your biofield can be weakened by electrical devices, smartwatches, trauma, illness, lack of sleep. If you see this rendering, you will see the chakras can become misaligned. The quality of the food that you eat can also weaken your magnetic field. This affects the voltage of each cell and the performance of them. Similarly, the food that you eat can strengthen the function and the cellular voltage of your magnetic field, the cellular voltage in each cell. Rocks and crystals. In my practice, I use crystals and stones to lay on the body to help balance the chakra system. And I also recommend them to my clients. As a teenager, my dad used to take us to Montana every summer, and they have this stone here you can find along the road. They have a lot of dirt roads in Montana. And so I would spend hours walking up and down the dirt roads looking for an agate. This right here is a Montana agate. They have these different color variations in them. And then this is a fluorite. They come in different colors. You can find them in green, purple, bluish tones. And both the Montana agate and the rainbow fluorite can actually heal the aura. There are different life experiences that can cause weaknesses or tears in the auric field, and you can use crystals and stones to help heal and strengthen that auric field. Blue lace agate, it is a stone that can help strengthen the throat chakra. So very often when I'm working on the throat chakra, I will place a blue lace agate on the throat. And if I have a client who has a lot of blockage there, I will suggest to them to obtain a blue lace agate. The lapis lazuli here, it is a very powerful stone. It can fortify the strength of your auric field. The Egyptians believed that the lapis lazuli stone was so powerful that it was only appropriate for their royalty to have. And so if you are in an environment that you feel is weakening your magnetic field, pretty much everybody has that because of all of the electrical devices that are around us. So a lapis lazuli can be very helpful. And then I included a blue kyanite because blue kyanite is very effective at removing blockages. So if you feel like you have a blocked throat chakra, you can use that to help as well. Chromo light therapy is something that I use in my sound healing practice. So this is a picture of my treatment table. I have what is called a Russell Forsyth crystal light table. It uses vocal crystals in a cradle that is that has this chromo light therapy. And so clients, they are receiving light therapy and sound therapy and magnet therapy because my table has magnets on them. And as of this recording, there is only one other place in California that has this specific chromo light therapy. If you've heard of the different chakra chromotherapy tables, I couldn't use those in my treatment because I needed to get all the way around the body. And if I had a client facing only one way, it's just something I just couldn't use. So this is a really great alternative to a chakra therapy. So all of this chromotherapy table, it emits light in all different colors of the spectrum. And so all of the chakras will receive therapeutic color during a session. One of the things that you can do for yourself and for your loved ones, especially if you have children who are struggling and floundering, is a salt bath. Sea salt, Epsom salt, and essential oils can be used to bathe in. And what it does is it helps to ground you, really puts you in your body, but it also helps to draw away this heavy negative energy that's propagating away from your body. So anytime you're going through emotional upheaval, if you notice that your child is very fussy and really giving you a bad time or had a really tough day, you can teach them to self-heal in ways that are healthy. And so give them a salt bath and say, I'm sorry you had a bad day. Let's do something to help. And give them a salt bath with essential oils. You'll notice that they sleep really well and they will calm down. Biofield tuning is the process of calling back your light and feeling more whole and complete. Biofield tuning is an energy adjustment that supports you in moving forward in a new way by no longer being triggered or defined by a difficult life story. The Biofield tuning protocol can be very helpful and effective at treating various conditions such as panic attacks, depression, digestion, trauma history, adrenal fatigue, getting unstuck, ancestral patterns, anger issues, physical pain. This one surprised me because what happens is as you grow older, there is this accumulation in your biofield, and it will start to encroach on your body and weigh heavier and heavier and heavier. A lot of the aches and pains that we experience as we grow older are a result of a lot of heavy energy in the biofield. Unhealthy attachments and etheric artifacts or energy constructs. Those can all be helped with the Biofield tuning protocol. Sound healing is a complementary therapy. You should always consult with your doctor or physician, but it is an alternative therapy that doesn't require medication. It is very easy to receive, and it is very effective at helping you feel whole and complete. Okay, everybody, if you're still here, thank you for sticking with me. I care very much about what I do. I get accused very often as being very idealistic, and that very well may be true. I don't care about being accused of being idealistic. What I think about is how you hear about all of these really horrible stories in the news about what somebody did to another person. Wounded, broken, hurt people, they go out and hurt other people. Healed people don't go and hurt other people. What would this world look like if everybody healed themselves? It would allow you to put your best foot forward. It would allow you to share the gifts that have been waiting to be shared. You all have a song to sing that only you can sing. You have a gift to give that only you can give. But if you are stuck spinning in the pain of an old story, then you can't bring those gifts forward. And if you are hurting, then you will bleed on people who didn't hurt you. And so I encourage you to seek out alternative therapies. I encourage you to consider sound healing for your healing journey. So thank you for joining me. And if you have any questions, you can visit my website. You can reach out to me via email. Bye for now, everybody.